We're now talking to Ross Mitchell from MHIRJ. Ross, it's good to see you again at a conference.
Good to see you always, Addison.
So here we are listening to the industry talk about the challenges that regional operators are facing. The pilot problem. It is what it is. There's no obvious solution that doesn't come with all kinds of ramifications. Not easy. The other issue, of course, facing this industry is the nature of regional flying. It's it's fuel burn intensive. Small planes, they fly in an inverted V, 300 miles, 400 miles, 500 miles, and they don't spend much time at cruise. So it's not an easy business to run. From your perspective, obviously in your former life at an OEM, how do you see the problem being solved? For example, everybody here talks about, well, there's going to be electric, there's going to be a hydrogen, there's going to be a hybrid, but as you and I have spoken, that's a decade maybe away. How do they solve the problem they have now? How do they survive in this environment?
Well, I think, first and foremost, like we talked about, there has to be a solution on the short-term issues, whether that's pilot shortage or the tech shortage, but those things have to be sorted out in the short term. Long term, with respect to sustainability and there's really has to be a multi-pronged solution. Certainly regional will see the early advent of some of these new technologies, whether it's electric, hybrid, or hydrogen. The easiest place to implement it is with smaller airplanes. You've seen sort of 30-seat airplanes now are starting to come into the space. We are working with ZeroAvia, who are looking to put engines on 50-seat airplanes in the next few years. I also think there's a place for sustainable aviation fuel. So you really have to combine all of these different new technologies with sustainable aviation fuel. But I think the question on sustainable aviation fuel isn't necessarily a technological one. It's scalability. It's being able to get that scaled up, because the airplanes, the CRJ series, is already 50% capable. So you could put a blend into the aircraft that's 50% SAF, and it can fly today. It's not an issue of the technology. It's really an issue of availability of SAF. And so I think the place where people need to focus in the short term is on that, making sure that SAF is available in the short term, while these longer term electric and hydrogen projects get sorted out.
How does one get more SAF? I heard someone at IATA conference, an engine company, say that they were speaking to an airline, and the airline said if we took all the world's SAF and made it available, we could fly for a day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fundamental problem, is that the producers today aren't focused on producing SAF, because today they can produce Jet A and make their margin. So I think ultimately it has to be about the industry requesting that fuel and being able to put it into service, because today you're right, there's not enough supply. So the airplanes are capable today already to make significant inroads, but the availability of the fuel is what prevents us from making that next step.
And I suppose the way to make some of these changes is public policy. Tax Jet A and and use that to make SAF cheaper, because SAF is expensive.
It is. I'd hate to say increase taxes for anything, but I do think you have to encourage the producers to make SAF available to the airlines.
Thank you.
Thank you.